This is the 25th straight year we've been playing winter ball. It's unbelievable. We've been doing this a quarter of a century. It's absolutely wild. But what winter ball is, for those who don't know, it's a baseball game that we play the first week in December every year. It's very holiday festive. Players show up in holiday gear. That we'll have Santa Claus comes down and play. The Grinch comes down and play. People wear their elf costumes. Everybody looks very festive. And the idea is that anybody who brings unwrapped toys for Toys for Tots can play. And the United States Marines come down, who are part of the Toys for Tots program, and they collect the toys. And they actually play in the game every year. They throw out the first pitch, but they're usually young guys. They're athletic. They're in the Marines after all, and we usually get them to get them in the game. And we have anywhere between I'd say between 30 and 50 players, depending on the weather. Last year we had around 40, 45 guys. And the more extreme the weather, the more people who actually come, as a matter of fact. So the whole idea of winter ball is to play ball in the snow. It's something that you very rarely get to do. So the weather is looking frightful for this weekend. And people are like, Rudy, what are we going to do? The weather is not necessarily looking great. I'm like, awesome, let it snow. Like, let's play in snow. I can play on grass all year long. I can't play on snow. So let's do this. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's scheduled for a 9 inning game, but more often than not, you get to 7 innings. People are freezing their butts off, and we're like, yeah, we're good. We're good. But it's officially a 9 inning game. The umpires all donate their time. They often show up in costume as well. It's just it's a tremendous amount of fun, and we generate a lot of toys for Toys for Tots. And this year we're doing it in Weymouth at Libby Field, December 6th. 11 a.m. is first pitch. Players start to show up as early as 9:30 just so that we can take BP and enjoy everything out on the field. But even more fun than the game, frankly, is just the camaraderie to be around your baseball buddies just one more time. A lot of people, they feel like their season ended at some point in September, maybe October if you were lucky enough to advance in the playoffs. But the reality is, for a lot of the guys that play in winter ball, their season doesn't end until December. They keep their gear in the car. They don't even put it away until after winter ball is over. So it shortens the off season by a good month and a half for everybody who plays in this game. It's just one more time out with the guys, hanging out and doing things baseball players do.
And just out of curiosity, because obviously you're the one, or if I remember correctly, you're the one that's organizing the event and stuff like that. How did you get started with it? Was there somebody from the Marines program that you knew, or kind of give us a little bit of the backstory behind that?
Yeah, for sure. So when this game first started, there was no charity angle to it whatsoever. It was just an opportunity to play more baseball, a bunch of crazy dudes in the winter. And it was still called winter ball back then. And we had a picture of all the guys who showed up, and we were just nuts back then. And after a few years, somebody said, well, why don't we do this for charity? And a guy by the name of John Moore, Smokey Moore, for those who know him, he played in our league for a long time, very heavily involved in baseball. His son Zach, also very heavily involved in baseball. John Smokey, when he was younger, was actually part of the Toys for Tots program. He was a recipient. His family wasn't able to afford toys the same way many of us are. And as a result of that, he was part of the Toys for Tots program as a recipient. And he said, well, why don't we do this for Toys for Tots? So the first couple of years, what we said is, all right, if you want to play, you have two choices. You can either bring an unwrapped toy, or you can bring $20, which will go towards the umpire fees. That lasted like 2 or 3 years. After 2 or 3 years, the umpires are like, no, we'll donate our time. Umpires haven't charged us for 20 years in this game. And it's gotten to a point where the players don't bring down $20, they bring down toys. Everybody does. They just know what the deal is. They want to participate. And in terms of what they bring, it's up to you. The beauty of playing amateur baseball is everybody comes from different financial backgrounds. Some people have more money, some people have less money. If all you can afford is, an $8 toy from CVS, we'll bring that. It's a better toy than the kid would have had if not for you. But if you're better off and you can afford to bring a PlayStation, well, then bring that. Like there's no judging, and we know that everybody who's contributing is doing the best that they can. and everybody gets to participate, and the kids are better off for it.
Do you have a costume that you're already planning to wear this year, or does that change every year?
So I got my baseballism, my snowman wearing playing baseball. I've worn this for the last couple of years. Um, Baseballism does a great job. They have a different holiday sweatshirt every year. I haven't seen what they actually have this year, but I love this. I get to wear it maybe once or twice a year, and Winter Ball is one of those spots. I got a nice little Winter Ball hat this year that I found on Amazon, so I don't want to, spoil the fun by wearing it now. You have to come down and see it. But I got a nice Winter Ball hat, and yeah, there's tough competition, man. If you want to be the best dressed out there, people wear elf shoes. Like I'm like, how do you even run in those? They're like elf shoes, but they run in them, and people, Santa Claus showed up one year. We had a snowman show up to hit. I think he got hit on the first pitch in the head or something like that because his head was like this big, and it hit him, and he couldn't back out of the way because he couldn't see the pitch coming in. It's really remarkable. We played at Maplewood one year, and the night before it snowed. There was like a foot of snow. So John O'Gallagher, he was a teammate of mine, and I went down to the ball field and we shoveled the entire baseline at the field so that people could play. But in the outfield, it was still snow. So, you hit a fly ball in the left field gap, the ball just goes zoop, falls in the snow and like disappears. And I don't know, it's just fantastic. It's a whole new dynamic to the game, and it's so much better played when there's snow on the ground because it just changes the game.
Obviously, like I said, this has been going on for a long time. So do you have a favorite moment that you had, from a baseball perspective? Obviously, this game is more than just baseball, but there's also, I'm sure, some funny baseball moments. You mentioned, well, maybe not getting hit in the head is so funny. But are there other moments like that that kind of, just make you realize, oh yeah, obviously we're doing this for a bigger cause, but it's still baseball at the end of the day.
So I think for me, the biggest moment isn't an individual second, but it's more of a larger event. So we've been playing in Boston for years and years and years, and Paul McCaffrey, who is the director of Parks and Rec in Boston, had given us fields in town for I don't know, 20 years at no cost to participate in this game. Incredibly thankful. And a few years back, Kevin O'Leary, he's the manager of the South Shore Mariners in the Masters Division 38s. He also happens to be a judge and has a bunch of connections and said, hey, why don't you play at Libby Field in Weymouth? And I'll see if we can get the senator, some Massachusetts senators to come down. So we came down and the senators, governors, the mayor of Weymouth. I mean, it was all these names. I can't even remember them all. They're all down there. And the city of Weymouth decorated the entire outfield with those big, like, those big those floats, and you fill them with air, and then there's like giant reindeers and giant Christmas trees, and they're just everywhere. They littered the entire outfield beyond the fence so that when players show up, they can walk the walkway to the dugout, and the whole thing was just magical. And I'm like, man, they did this all for our game. Like everybody is just contributing and giving back, and just watching all the players show up. I mean, every year, it'll be like 20 degrees, and I'm like, oh man, nobody's going to show up. It's freezing. And I'm showing up. I'm there. I'm always the first one there because I need to decorate the dugouts and put up tinsel and the ornaments and the whole thing. And I'm always there at like, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and nobody's going to show up at this thing. It's 20 degrees. Nobody's going to come. And then they start showing up. And then all of a sudden, there's 40 people there at 10 o'clock taking batting practice, all in costume or in uniform. I'm like, man, they just keep coming down. And every year, I think there's no way we're going to pull this off next year. And they just keep showing up and impressing me. And in 25 years, we've only had to cancel the game one time because there was like a blizzard on the day. And I'm thinking, this is great. There's so much snow. This is going to be awesome. So I didn't even cancel it. And then that morning, I'm like, man, people, you can't drive in this. Like, you can't, like, there's no way to get here. And as much as it pained me, we canceled a game, but that was maybe 10 years ago, maybe even longer at this point. But ever since then, we're like the mailmen through rain, sleet, snow, whatever it is, the game will go on. and just awesome. And people ask, how do you split up teams? We do it schoolyard style. Everybody shows up. We stick a catcher on both sides, and we just say, pick your team, and we just divvy everybody up. And however many team people end up on each team, well, that's how many people bat. And there's a lot of guys they don't even want to bat. They're like, it's cold. I'm going to hurt my hands. I just want to be on this team and hang out with my guys. I'll play a few innings in the outfield or infield or whatever. And it's just a good time. It's great camaraderie with all these guys that you see during the season, but maybe you only get to play with them during 100 innings or during winter ball, and it's a lot of fun. I hope you come down, Whitney. We gotta get you out there. In fact, in all these years we've been doing winter ball, I don't believe we've ever live streamed a game. So I would like to invite you, if you would be willing, come down, man, stream it. It would be fun, and then you could interview all the players in costume. It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely am coming down on Saturday. I don't have the live stream equipment, but I'm sure I can talk to Dan about that and
Yeah,
figure
figure
that
it
out.
out. It'll be fun. I mean, even if you just video some clips and play it later,
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun. But from the U.S. Marines, we already have three Marines confirmed this year. We have Corporal Tlax. I don't even want to tell you how to spell his last name. It's like TlaxcaltecA. It looks like a typo. But we got Corporal Tlax coming down. We got Corporal Bolo coming down. We got Lance Corporal Cruz coming down. I mean, it's odd. When three Marines are coming to your ball game, that it's legit. Like it's just they take this seriously. They know that we've been doing this for a long time, and even the United States Marines want to be a part of this tradition. It's it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it. And just to go back in time for a little bit, you were also part of the 100 innings game and have been for a long time. Describe what it means to be a part of such an important cause. It's now raised $1 million plus for ALS research as well.
So we started 100 innings of baseball back in 2004 when Kurt Schilling came to town. And similar to winter ball, like it wasn't for charity when it started. When we started, it was just like, hey, let's play 100 innings of baseball. Why not? And people thought it would never happen. A former president of the league, John Diamond, it was actually initially his idea, and he mentioned it at a board meeting back when, I was in my 20s and I was part of the board, and he mentioned it. But back in those days, 100 innings is just you throw a pitching machine and it pitches the ball and you bang out 100 innings in an afternoon. Fast forward a bunch of years, we took it to a managers meeting and asked the managers, "Hey, what do you think about playing 100 innings?" And everyone's like, "That's crazy. Why would anybody want to play 100 innings?" And we said, "Well, people are complaining that it's too expensive to play in our league. Well, why don't we do it and people can sponsor us and we can play ball?" And then we can have free league fees. And people are like, well, no one's ever gonna sponsor a bunch of adults to play baseball. And this guy, Conrad Paquette, he was the manager of the Cardinals at the time. And he said, well, what if we did it for a charity? Kurt Schilling is just coming to town. He supports ALS. Why don't we see if we can get him to support ALS? So I'm like, all right. So we contacted Kurt and through the ALS Association, and we ended up getting him on board. And what we agreed to the first year is for any money that was donated, half would go to your league fees, half would go to ALS. And once your league fees were paid off, anything over that, 100% of it would go to ALS. And the first couple of years we did the game, we raised over $100,000, our best years, which just shows that players can be very giving when there's something in it for them as well. But then something magical happened, and that's that the game caught on. And then players didn't need to have money on their own. All of it could go to ALS, and players continued to come and continued to come. And now it's been over 20 years for the game, and we've passed $1 million. And what's wild about that is when the game first started, and you look like a young guy yourself, but when the game first started, how old were you 21 years ago?
Let's do the math real quick. I'm 32, so 21.
You were like 11. You were 11 years old.
11. Yeah, sorry. That's how
Yeah.
good I was at math in school.
Yeah. So when you were 11 years old, this game started. And at the time, it was about generating awareness for ALS. Nobody knew what ALS was. And fast forward to today, everybody knows what ALS is. Like, just, hey, what's ALS? Like, they might not know what the initials stand for, but they know what it is. And so over the years, what's happened is the game has shifted. It is no longer about raising awareness for ALS. We don't need to do that. We solved that one. Now it's about finding a cure for ALS. And while there has not been a cure, there have been huge advancements in the 21 years we've been doing this. The first year we ran this event, there were about 10 individuals who had ALS who all came down to be part of the opening ceremonies. By the time we did the game the following year, all of them had passed. All of them. Um, Fast forward to today, we have Walter Benson, who's our umpire chief. He was diagnosed with ALS at least a dozen years ago. He still continues to be our umpire chief every game. And while admittedly um, he's not as healthy as he once was. He's still umping the games. He still is the umpire assigner for the majority of baseball leagues in the greater Boston area. He still umps this game at midnight as he does every year. Rat Kennedy, who's the president of the Angel Fund, he was diagnosed with ALS. He's down at the game every single year. So what used to be a death sentence, like that, people are living longer and longer and longer. It's still not wonderful the state that they're in now, but in comparison to what it was when this game started, it's night and day. So if we keep this thing going another 20 years, maybe we'll have a cure. Maybe this thing will be done. Why not? Why not? And are we the ones who created the cure, who raised awareness? The Ice Bucket Challenge did a lot for ALS, but guess who played in 100 innings of baseball before the Ice Bucket Challenge? Pete Frates, who was the founder of the Ice Bucket Challenge. So did we inspire him? Did our players contribute to the Ice Bucket Challenge and help kick it off? I don't know, to some degree. To some degree, we did. Um, so I think that this game has played a really great part in not only raising awareness for the game, but in motivating millions of other people to make contributions, not just towards our game, but to ALS as a whole, that has ultimately gotten it to us to a place that's much better than it was 20 years ago when we started. And on top of that, it took a lot of fun playing baseball for 34 straight hours. It's wild. It's wild to show up at Saturday morning to play baseball and you don't wrap up until Sunday afternoon. That's a lot of baseball without any sleep. Yeah, so there's two tricks. Number one, you got to drink lots of Red Bull. You just have to do it. You got to keep yourself up and you got to make it so you can't fall asleep. That's number one. Number two, from a body standpoint, you cannot play as hard as you would like to play. If you go out there in the first inning and you're throwing 8 hard throws in the outfield, warming up between every inning, and you're sprinting out to your position, like I know that's what good ball players do, but if you're an outfielder, I mean, put this in perspective for a minute. If you're an outfielder and you sprint out to left field 250 feet away, and at the end of the inning, you come back to another 250 feet, that's 500 feet. You do that for 10 innings, that's a mile. You do that for 100 innings, that's 10 miles. And that's just to get to and from your position. That you haven't played a single pitch, you haven't taken a single at bat and run to first base, second base, you haven't chased down a fly ball. If you play 100 innings as an outfielder, you are going 10 miles just to your position and back. So if you're hustling out there, and by the way, I'm not saying don't hustle, but I'm saying if you overexert yourself, by the time you get into the middle of the night on Saturday and you start to get the frost overnight, you're gonna be done. You're just not gonna have you're just not gonna have the body to keep it going. So pace yourself. That's my advice. And like I said, the Red Bull doesn't hurt. You really need it. What's happened over the years is people bring food. It used to be that Walter Benson, the umpire chief, he would order food and pizza would show up from Domino's around midnight. And then maybe 6 or 7 in the morning, donuts would show up from Dunks. And he still does that, which is really nice of him. But over the years, man, the food spreads that have showed up. I mean, players bring their own grills and their own tents, and they got beef brisket and they're cooking up burgers and pork chops. And man, the grilling that's going on at this game, it's unreal. Better than any food trucks you can imagine. And my biggest advice is just be like a dog and eat whenever there's food in front of you. You know how if you drop a cookie in front of your dog, he'll just eat it. If you fill his bowl with food, he'll just eat it because he never knows when that meal might be his last. It's the same way at 100 innings. When you see food, just eat it because you're going to be at a ball field for 34 hours. You're not going to sleep. There's no scheduled meals. If there's a burger in front of you, just eat that burger because you don't know when the next food's going to show up. Um, and I don't know, any other advice? Bring extra socks because your socks get all gross at like midnight when you're stepping in, when the grass is all mildewy in the outfield and your feet get gross. Bring extra socks, bring extra cleats. Um, if you take meds, bring them because like you don't realize you're not even like you're there until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. So like don't don't forget your meds. Like bring a toothbrush if you got it. But there's a lot of considerations if you plan on playing this whole game.
All right, good advice. Yeah, I want to do 100 innings myself at some point down the road. It's just figuring out when. So I look forward to doing that. I'll have to bring my own stash of snacks myself.
Whitney, you have been covering Boston baseball for maybe, I don't know, 10 years, give or take. I don't know. If it's more, maybe less, you could probably tell me.
Yeah,
But let's call it 10 years.
yeah.
I have yet to see you get into a ball game. You need to get into a game. That should be your goal the next year. I want to see you on a ball field. I want to see you take it at bat. Winter ball is the place to do it.
I was gonna say you must have missed me this year because I was in right field for half an inning in the 100 innings game. Uh,
Okay.
so I was able to do that. Only had one ball actually hit in my direction, sort of. Luckily, it was caught by the guy in front of me because I probably would have missed it. Um, but yeah, so I will. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play Saturday, but I definitely want to be able to do that at some point. So we shall see. Um, but yeah, I'll let you know.
All right, perfect. And if you're there, I'm going to pressure you to get out into the field. So
Okay.
bring your cleats, wear baseball pants, no excuses.
Okay. All right. And if not, I'll definitely at least live stream it because I want to make sure we have coverage, whether it's from the BMBL website or, I mean, Facebook page or my page. We've never live streamed anything on EMAT Sports, so it'd be cool to do it that way. And I think I have enough followers now that I can do that. So, yeah, hopefully we can either do it on your page or my page. We'll
All
see.
right, sounds good.
So you're in your current role as Vice President of Marketing and Operations for the BNBL and Commissioner of the 18 plus division. Do you have a favorite moment or favorite part of your role that you really like? Because again, you've had a lot of hats during the years, but do you have any in your current role? Do you have any favorite part of that role that keeps you coming back?
I mean, what keeps me coming back, honestly, is the managers that keep coming back. Um, there's lots of places that you can play baseball in the Boston area. And I believe that we have the most premier league in Boston. And that doesn't necessarily mean we have the world's best talent. There's other collegiate baseball leagues. If you're in college and you're hoping to maybe play pro someday, there are other leagues that might be better for you. If you're looking to play 5 nights a week, there are other leagues that might be better for you. But if you're looking for a league that is going to give you the most opportunities to build camaraderie, participate in events, be part of something that's larger than the 20 games or 25 games you might be scheduled to play baseball in a season, there is no better option than playing in the Boston Metro Baseball League. We start typically in the third week in April. If you advance far in the playoffs, you could be playing until mid-October. But even beyond the baseball season, as we've already talked about, we have 100 innings of baseball that's played over Columbus Day weekend. We have winter ball that's played in December. We have tournaments that our ball players are playing in all through the off season. I feel like guys that I play with are in Florida all winter long because there's just tournaments all the time. And the camaraderie between the players in our league. I mean, players are best friends with guys that they've met in this league. Um, Now I feel that there's a lot of the other leagues in town, while they're quality leagues, a lot of them, they might have 25, 30 games. The guys show up to play 25 or 30 nights, and that's it. If you want to participate in baseball 25 or 30 nights a season, there's other leagues that might be right for you. But if you want an organization where you can truly feel as if you were part of a membership 365 days a year, It's the Boston Metro Baseball League. And it's the reason why when players age out of our 18 plus division, they play in the 28s. And when they age out of the 28s, they play in the 38s because they just love the camaraderie that they have and the friendships that they've made, and they have no interest in going somewhere else. I mean, the big thing we've been discussing now is how can we add more leagues to our organization so that we can have places for 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds to play because we don't. We top out at 38s. So a lot of people who age up, they play in the Boston Amateur Baseball League, which is Paul Harrington's league when they turn 45, 52, 60 because he has a league that keeps things going even once you age out of our league. So, I mean, I think that's what I really like the most. Um, I forget the exact question, but the point is the fact that just people are here forever. I'm not on a baseball team. I'm in a baseball community. And I play on 3 teams, but whenever I show up at a field, I know half the guys that are there like that aren't even on my team just because I've played with these guys for so long that everybody knows everybody. And he said, what keeps me coming back? Like that's what keeps me coming back. When my son was younger and he was in the house and he's like, Dad, how come you never go out with any of your friends, during baseball season? I'm like, dude, I'm with my friends every freaking night. I got a game on Monday nights. I got a game on Wednesdays. I got a game on Thursday. I have a game on Sunday. There's 3 nights a week I don't have a game. On those nights, I'm sitting down watching Netflix and recouping from the 4 nights that I had. I have friends that call me up, some of them that don't play baseball, and they're like, "Hey, you want to get together?" I'm like, "Dude, you got to wait till after the season because I don't have any time. I got 4 games a week, and on the games I don't play, I don't nothing personal, but I don't want to hang out." So I have friends that I'm gonna see them December, January, February, March, March, and that's it. Because once baseball season starts, that's the end of it. So if you ask the majority of people in our league who their closest friends are, they're all other guys who play in this league. Because if they don't play baseball, when are they gonna see them? They're gonna see them 3, 4 months out of the year. I'm sure you'll find exceptions to this, but by and large, people who play in baseball leagues are friends with other guys who play in baseball leagues because that's what they have the time for. And that's what keeps me coming back to this. It's this isn't a baseball league. It is a baseball league, but that's not what it is for me. For me, like this is where I hang out with all my buddies and have like I'm hanging out with you right now. Like you might say, "Hey, we're doing a webinar. I'm interviewing you about this stuff," but like, dude, we're hanging out. We're having a conversation about baseball in December. Like, what are my other options? What else could I be doing? Like, I'm talking to you in December about baseball. How awesome is that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, this is one of the best parts, or one of my favorite things about this podcast is that it's just a baseball conversation. That's all this is. It's just two guys talking back and forth, and we have maybe 40, 50 people watching, maybe more, depending on the, how well it's marketed and how well people, catch it. And, that viewership has gone up. I mean, it's great. That's a great thing about being involved with you guys is that I've gotten new viewers from, who knows where. I mean,
But you say 40 or
California.
50. Like, do you have any idea how many 50 people is? Like a teacher who teaches a class all year long. They have 20 kids in their class and they teach that class all year long. You have 50, say you have 50 people and they're all baseball players who are local. That's 2.5 teams worth of people who are tuning into you every single week to listen to you talk about baseball on some random topic. Maybe they don't even know you, they don't even know me, but they're just listening because what else would they rather be doing? So maybe it's 50 people, but the 50 people that are here, like these are the people who are passionate about baseball. Like these are your bros, these are your friends. You might not even know them by name. They might be a number on your podcast feed that says, hey, you had 51 people here. But I also would bet that if you went into your analytics and you said overall, how many views has this had? It's not 50. It's a number much higher than 50. So, for example, we broadcast a lot of our games, especially during the playoffs. And at any given time, we might have 40 people listening, give or take. Like in the playoffs, maybe we'll have 50 people watching at any given time. But then when you look at the analytics after the game, you'll see that we had 500 people watching the game. You'll be like, well, how is that? We only had 40 people. It's like, well, yeah, you had 40 people at a time. Somebody tuned in for an inning or two, and then they left, and then somebody else turned in an inning or two, and then they left. But when you look at the total number of people who saw any given broadcast, it's like 400 or 500 people. And then you consider there's only 1,000 people in our league. And what that says is that at any given game, half the people are stopping by. They might not sit there for all 9 innings to watch the game, but they're stopping by because they want to see what the score is. They want to see what's going on, and they check in. They see it's the fourth inning. It's 7-2. All right, I'm back to Netflix. And from my standpoint, like that's awesome. Like they could be watching ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, but they're dropping by to watch a bunch of amateur dudes talk about a local baseball league just to see what's happening in the third inning at Trump. Like how cool is that? Like like that's just awesome.
There's nothing
Right.
better, right?
No, there's nothing better at all. And you don't need to do a darn thing. You just say, "Hey, I'm down at Trum." Like guys like Angie and um and Dan Field and Matt Giblin and Mike Terrio, like these are some of like the best in the business at talking about baseball. And man, they're just out there all the time broadcasting games. I used to do a lot of games. I used to be like what Terrio's doing now, but then, I had a kid, I'm working more like Terry, what Terrio, Danfield, Gibby, and Angie are doing, they're out there every single week bringing new content, and it's just awesome. Charlie's joining.
Oh, okay. Oh, hi, Charlie. Um, yeah, so I guess right where we left off, and Charlie can just be our guest of honor here. Um, you obviously you and Dan and I have broadcasted a few games together over the years. Do you guys have or do you have a favorite playoff game that you broadcasted, or a favorite playoff performance from anyone across the entire time that you've been involved with the BNBL?
So way back in the day, we used to broadcast on what was called IMAS radio. It was with a guy by the name of Mark LeMay, and it was the first time we had ever broadcasted games. It was before internet. That's how long we've been doing this. And what we had this milk crate, and in the milk crate there was a tape recorder, and you actually had like tapes, like cassette tapes. And we brought batteries, and we would press record on the tapes, and we would talk into the recorder. And then at every 30 minutes, the tape would end, and we'd have to flip the tape, and then we would have to do the next side, and then we would keep going. And then at the end of the game, we would drive down to Mark LeMay's house, and he lived in like Medford, I think, and we would drop the tapes off at his house. He would then convert the tapes to digital, and he would put them on the internet back when everything was like 56K. And that's how we used to broadcast games. So you think it's hard for Dan Field to show up with his iPad and get his connections with the video. Like there never used to be video at all. This was all audio. And the biggest thing was, hey, if you were doing the game, Whitney, you'd be like, hey, Whitney, did you remember to get new batteries? Like every week, you would do a game, you'd need to remember to get new batteries. And then inevitably somebody would like forget to bring new batteries. Like, they're probably good. We only used them for 2 hours last week. And then you just hope the batteries last a full game. So we'd be buying batteries, we'd be getting new tapes, we'd have to record over the old tapes, and then we'd get him to Mark, and he would burn them. Like that's how we used to do this. And that was fun because like today, we call the games, but we know that there's also video going. So I don't need to be talking about play by play the whole time. As long as I'm talking about baseball, people can kind of watch the action. But back in those days, there was no video, it was only audio. So before every game, I'd have to print out everybody's stats, all the standings, like everything, so that I could talk about these players like I knew exactly who they were and what was going on. And it was crazy. Like you were throwing paper everywhere, trying to read stats and find players and keep up with who's up next. And everybody who says baseball is a slow game has never had to like keep a book simultaneously to calling play-by-play of a game, simultaneously trying to change a tape, press pause between innings, like make sure the microphones are working. It was wild. and we would record this once a week during the season. It wasn't like today where we primarily record during the playoffs. We would do a game of the week every Sunday. And that was tough to find because, people I'd have games. So I'd have to find a time where I didn't have a game, and then I'd have to find somebody else to do it with me. And it was wild. Back when we did this, nobody was doing it. We were the first people to broadcast amateur baseball. No, nobody did it back then. And by the way, when Dan started doing the live streaming of our baseball games, nobody was doing it then either. Nobody was live streaming baseball games. Each time there was like a new technology, we were the first ones out of the gate to be doing it. So now you can go to any baseball league anywhere. You can go to, every high school has, video cameras on top of home plate that are recording all of their games. Like it's wild to see how it's so common now. I mean, every high school has a video camera behind home plate now, and we were doing it first 20 something years ago. In fact, um, I still have this. This is my 10th man award. I don't know if you can read this, but this is an award that I received from IMAS Radio. It was the 11th player award. I don't know what that means. I guess I wasn't good enough to make 10th player, but I made the 11th, and this was from iMouse Radio in 2011. So let that sink in. 24 years ago. Remind me how old you are again?
32.
All right, so you were 8. We were broadcasting games when you were 8 years old. Like, think about how wild that is.
Yeah, I mean it's been a long time, and like I said, it's clear you've seen a lot of different performances, a lot of different players winning different awards and stuff, and a lot of repeats as well, repeat champions, repeat player awards, repeat manager awards. You know, yeah, has there any, like I said, you must have seen a lot of different people winning or having, game winning clutch hits over the years. Is there one that's kind of your favorite?
I mean, can it be mine? I mean,
Yeah, it could be personal for your team, because I know you were on a team a couple years ago. Believe the Havoc that won the championship when they were still part of that. But were there other ones that either you were not personally a part of, or that you broadcasted as well?
yeah, so back in 2005, see, I have all these on my desk. This is what the trophies used to look like back in 2005. This was this was the first time my White Sox team won a championship. I used to manage the White Sox in the 18 plus division, and my team was no good. We were really bad. Um, because I don't know if you've seen me play, I'm no star. I didn't play college ball like a lot of the guys in our league. I barely started in high school. Um, and I built up this team and I recruited heavily. A lot of our managers rely on our player pool, which is where players can sign up for our league, and then it creates a database, and then you can contact those players. But I didn't do that route. I contacted colleges and I contacted the managers and of those college teams, and I said, "Hey, do you have any graduating seniors who are looking for a place to play next year? I'd love to bring them onto my team." And I would call relentlessly, and I would call every single college coach in the area. And um, back in 2004, 2005, I ended up building my roster to a team where like every single player on my roster played on a college team, the year before. I remember I had Jason Hoy playing center field and Will Bissonette playing second. Both of them had just graduated from Wheaton. I had Brian Holding, he was one of our pitchers. Al Wiesner was one of our pitchers. Um, Eamon McDonough was one of our pitchers. He had pitched out in Western Mass somewhere, I forget where. But like our entire team was filled with like guys who had played college ball and just wrapped up, and they were all playing on my team. And for the first time, we had a wonderful team, and we made it to the finals and we won. And I collapsed on the field. Back in those days, I was just managing. I wasn't playing anymore. Um, and I just kind of collapsed on the field, laid back like this, and was like, man, and at the time, I don't, I started in this league in 1994. And at the time, that was only 10 years into my tenure. And I thought that that was forever. 10 years seemed like an eternity. And now I look back to 2005 when I won my first title and I thought that was a forever. And it's been 20 years since then. I've won other titles since with other teams. You know, the Giants team that I play with in the 52 plus division, we've won the title the last couple of years. Havoc team, which you mentioned, I won a title with them back in. I have the ring here that from when I won a championship with the Havoc. Let's see if that was 2023. So. I have the hardware to show, but there are other guys who've been in this league that I feel like they win championships every year, and good for them. You know, they've earned it. They're strong players. They've been on strong teams, but I'm one of these guys, and I'm here to tell you that I've been in this league for since 1994. So we're talking 31 years, and in 31 years, I've won four titles, two with the Giants and my 52s team, one with the White Sox and my 18s team, and one with the Havoc in 2023 and my 18s team. So four titles in 30 years. So when you see guys that seem to win them year after year after year, good for you, but that's not normal. And there's a lot of, Dan Field won a title last year with the Somerville Senators. I think it was the first one he's ever won. So for a lot of, and he's been in the league 20, 30 years himself. So for a lot of guys, winning a title is a very, very rare thing. And the guys who win them regularly, I hope they appreciate it because someday they'll be retired. They'll be sitting on the couch wearing an old man sweater with their grandkids bouncing on their lap, and they'll be able to remind them about the time that they won a title 11 straight years or whatever. You look at guys like Chris Curry with the Metro West Orioles or Teddy Zuba or Chris Dean. Those guys seem to win championships year after year after year. That is not normal stuff. And there's a reason those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Chris Curry, not yet. He will be. The only reason Chris Curry's not in the Hall of Fame is because the Metro West joined the BMBL 10 years ago. And you got to be in the league 10 years to be a Hall of Famer. In this coming year, Chris is going to be up for nomination in the Hall of Fame. There's no way he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. The guy's won a championship pretty much every year that I've known him. He's a commissioner of the Metro West. He runs the Orioles. And by the way, there's going to be a lot of Metro West guys getting in the Hall of Fame this year because, like I said, they merged into our league and this is their 10th year. So in 2026, all these guys that have been in that league, who've since the beginning, they're all going to be eligible at once. I have a feeling that there's a really good chance that you might see our largest Hall of Fame class ever this year because all these Metro West guys are going to become eligible all at once. One between what he's doing as a manager, what he's doing as a commissioner. Um, he took over the Cape Cod tournament. Um, he's just done so much for our league. I want to say in his short time, but it's not even short time anymore. It's been a decade now. And he's done a lot of tremendous things. Another thing that Chris did just recently in the last couple of weeks is we're merging with yet one more league, which I don't know. I'm not really going to break all the details yet, but well, I guess I am going to do it. I guess I'm doing it right now. The Leominster League is going to be merging with the BNBL, so that's going to give us more presence in the Metro West and allow us to expand our footprint even more. Um, that was 100% the doing of Chris Curry. So it's just really tremendous. It's so funny when we started, it was a Boston men's baseball league, and then we had to migrate to the Boston Metro Baseball League because we've had more than 20 women play in the league. And they're like, how can you call yourself a Metro West, the Boston Men's Baseball League when you've had 2 dozen women who've played in the league? So we changed to the Boston Metro Baseball League, and like now we're not even Boston Metro anymore. We're in Metro West, and we're beyond Metro West and Leominster. Like the league just continues to grow, continues to expand, and I'm just really glad to see it. And what's interesting is other leagues continue to pop up. People move away from our league, start other leagues. Paul Harrington did that many years ago. Other people have done it since. And the fact is, all that's happening is baseball continues to grow. The Boston Metro Baseball League remains about the same size, and baseball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just shows that it's just a wonderful community that we're in. Um, I got a buddy of mine who plays on the the name is escaping me. The Knights. He plays on the Knights in a age 60 plus division. And I was with him on Saturday night at a team party that I had for my Babel team. Three teams came together, my Chiefs team and the Knights and one other team because the coach was the same for all three and he wanted to do like an end of the year party. And he was telling me he just moved up from Florida. Why did he move up from Florida? Because he could get more baseball. Like, let that sink in for just a minute. Most people go to Florida because that's where they can get more baseball. Now, the reality is you might go down to Florida in the middle of the off season because you can play ball down there while you can't play up here. But during the regular season, there is nowhere in the entire United States where there is more baseball being played than in Boston. There's more baseball being played here than in California, than in Florida. There's a dozen leagues. I could ramble them off right now. A dozen. Challenge me, ask me, but I could name a dozen leagues that are all in our area right now that are all playing at once. And, this guy moved up from the East Coast of Florida and he's like, there's no place to play baseball down there. I'm like, that's wild to me. We have unlimited leagues down here. Um,
I mean, I guess can you name them all? Is my next
oh,
question.
And we got the Boston Metro Baseball League. We got the Yawkey, Park, Intercity, Korean League. Wakefield has the Wakefield Twi League. There's the Woburn Night League, which plays on Wednesdays. We got the North Shore League. We got the Cranberry League on the South Shore. We got the BABL, which has a division in the 45s, 52s, and 60s. That's 10 leagues so far. We have the Futures League, which is a collegiate league. We have the New England Collegiate Baseball League, which is 12th. We have the Western New England Baseball League, which is 13. The Leominster League, which is 14. I mean, if you want me to expand to Rhode Island, I can. We have the Rhode Island MSBL. I mean, I'm at 15 already, and that's just surrounding Boston, and I'm probably missing leagues. And I'm sorry if you are in another league and I've missed you, but that's 15 leagues just off the top of my head who are all playing, right around the greater Boston area. And it's just enormous, and it keeps on expanding, and there's more and more and more. So if you live in the Boston area and you want to play, there's a league for you. You have tremendous talent, no problem. There's three or four collegiate leagues that you could play in. Or did you used to be college level, but you're older now? No problem. Tons of leagues for you. Are you someone who loves the game, but you're just not skilled with the greatest talent? No problem. Tons of leagues for you. Like there is a league for everybody who wants to play. So when I hear from people that I can't find a team, I'm like, well, you're really not looking that hard because there's no shortage of baseball in the Boston area.
Well, like I said, it just gives me a lot of different leagues to choose from for interviews next season too. Because, like I said, I want to expand it. I mean, like there's a lot of great stories, obviously, in the BNBL as well, but I want to branch out a little bit and see, what other stories I can find around. And I'm sure there are many that intersect with the BNBL as well, as you just boldly say, or as you just stated, because it's clear that the more opportunities there are for people to play, the better it is for Boston baseball in general. At least that's the assumption I'm making based on what you're saying so far.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, put this in perspective, right? I mean, I rambled off 15 teams, right? There's probably a couple of others that I haven't mentioned. So let's say there's 17 teams, and let's say that each of those leagues has, call it 10 teams, just for an average. So now you're talking 170 teams, and let's pretend that each of those teams have 20 guys. That's 3,400 guys playing baseball in Greater Boston, amateur adult baseball. 3,400. Like, let that sink in for just a minute, how many people that is. That is crazy. Crazy how many people that is. Um, and that's way more than you're not going to find that many people playing in Miami, for example. You want to play baseball in Miami? I guarantee you there are not 3,400 people playing in Miami. You want to go to LA? Guarantee you there are not 3,400 people playing baseball in LA. It's just not happening. Like they might have different levels of talent because they play year long, but in terms of quantity of people playing, nothing's bigger than Boston. And I can tell you why, by the way. The rationale is because Boston has more colleges and universities in a 10-mile radius than anywhere in the world. You can Google it, it's true. Between your BUs and BCs and Harvards and MITs and Babson, Bryant, Bentley, Northeastern, Wentworth. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's more colleges and universities right around us than anywhere else. So what happens? All these guys play baseball either at a club level or just for recreation or for their college, and then they get out of school and they want to play somewhere. So where are they going to go? Well, pick a league. We have 17. I just named them, and I probably didn't even name them all. Um, so that's why. And because the majority of these programs provide such a great baseball experience that they just don't stop playing. Like I remember when I started playing in this league, we had an 18s, a 30s, and a 40s. And now we got 45s, 52s, 60s. Like there's a league in Rhode Island. I don't even know what the age is. Maybe it's 70s. They play at 10 o'clock on like I'm getting this wrong, so don't I mean I realize I'm being quoted, but don't quote me. They play at like 10 a.m. on like Tuesdays. I'm like, how do you play on Tuesdays? And they're like, well, everybody's retired. So they just show up on a weekday and they're like, it's great. You don't have to fight for fields. Nobody's fighting for the fields on 10 a.m. on a Tuesday because everybody's working. So we play 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. And again, don't quote me. It's probably Mondays and it's probably 9. But the point is they play on a weeknight morning and there's enough people who are that age that can play in a baseball league on a weekday morning. Like, how nuts is that? So, like, I look at that and that motivates me. I'm 53 years old and I know that for the rest of my life, I will be able to play baseball somewhere. And it didn't used to be that way. I actually work at a school now, and I was talking to our head baseball coach. And one of the things that he said to me just the other day when we were talking about something, he's like, and this was about sports in general, not just baseball, but the idea was that take sports as a gift because one day I might just be done. You might be 25 years old and bust your arm and now you're done playing baseball. And he's like, and you have 75 more years to live. And you might be a huge baseball fan, and for the next 75 years, you don't get to play baseball. Or let's pretend you're a football player. There's no I don't want to say no. There's almost no amateur football. I know there's a league in Boston somewhere, but um, there's almost no amateur football. So for the vast majority of people who play football in high school at the age of 17 or 18 years old, that last game as a senior in high school is the last game of football they'll ever play. And at 18 years old, and let's say they live to 100, for the next 82 years of their life, they won't play football. Then maybe they'll coach it, maybe they'll watch it on TV, maybe they'll go to games, but they're not going to play. And baseball, that's not true. I know that I'm in a 52 plus league now. When that's done, I'll play in a 60 plus. When that's done, I'll play in a 70 plus. Like I will die on a baseball field. And there are not very many other sports that get to say they do that. If you're basketball, how many 50 plus basketball leagues are there going around there? I couldn't tell you a single person who's playing in one. I'm sure if you did some research, you could find one, but I don't know anybody who's playing in one. So I don't know. That's just baseball in Boston. It's it's a community unlike anything else. And if you live here, don't take it for granted because if you move, you're not going to get to experience it and you're going to be like, man, I wish I was back in Boston where I could play. I mean, shit, dude, I play on 3 teams. I barely started on my high school team. I'm playing on 3 teams. And I'm pretty damn competitive on one of them. On one of my teams, I bat leadoff half the time. On another one of my teams, I'm in the middle of the lineup all the time. Now there's like again, there's going to be guys that are playing that win championships all the time. They're like big deal. I'm like, yeah, but they're not me. Like I'm a guy that barely played in high school. But like I said, there's baseball leagues for everybody here. Whatever your skill is, find a league that's for you. You'll fit right in and you'll be competitive in that league. Dude, if I went and played in the Futures League, I wouldn't play. If I went and played in the Inner City League, I wouldn't play. Those leagues aren't for me. But when I play in the Babel and the 52s, dude, I start every game in the outfield, bat middle of the lineup. On my 45s team, I bat leadoff half the time. Whenever Pete DeMarco's not there, I bat leadoff. When Pete DeMarco's there, maybe I'll bat seventh or eighth. But when he's not here, I bat top of the lineup. So the point is, there's baseball for everybody at every skill level. Just find the team for you, get in the game, and the camaraderie is awesome.
Well, like I said, with all the leagues and teams that you're a part of over the years, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received from a player, coach, or other league official, or anyone you've kind of met along the way that's helped you get where you are now?
Ooh, best piece of advice. That's a good question. I mean, I think it's just how you do one thing is how you do everything. And how that converts into baseball is, look, if you want to just hit a ball and it's an easy ground ball and you want to jog to first, okay. But you know what? Especially as you get older, half the time you hit that ground ball, they're not gonna field it properly, or they're gonna overthrow the first baseman. Run that stuff out. You get four at bats a game if you're lucky. Run it out. How hard is it to run 90 feet to first base? Like, hit the cutoff man when you get a ball from the outfield, or give it all you got and try to throw the guy out at third base or wherever. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you can't hustle in those four at bats you have a game, or you can't hustle for that fly ball you have, or you can't run out to your position, like, are you really going to do good at your day job? Are you really going to do good at life, taking care of your kid or your wife or your house or your dog? Participate hard in everything you do, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I don't care how much talent you have, but I want to see you work hard at it. And everybody has a teammate that they know who busts their butt. And sometimes the person who busts their butt is the best player on the team. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a guy who busts their butt. But I don't want to play on a team with a guy that's lazy. We've all seen the guys, they hit a ground ball to third. They don't even bother to run out. They're veering them back to their bench before they even make it down to first base. You know what? I don't want to be in that guy's team. Maybe they're great to have a beer with afterwards, but I come down to play ball and I want everybody to working hard. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's probably the best advice I've gotten. And frankly, I got that advice really in the last couple of years through the baseball program at Austin Prep where I'm coaching. That's kind of one of their philosophies. You play hard as a ball player, you work hard as a student, you are a good citizen of your town, of your family. You just play everything as if it matters. And I think that that's really strong advice.
One other project that I got to be a part of this year as well is working with Carson Lund from the EFIS movie. And I know you got your league or the Boston Metro Baseball League had players playing in that movie as extras, if I remember correctly. So what did it mean to be involved with for you on a personal level with that kind of project, and how can that help, with this league moving forward from a marketing perspective as well?
Sure. So, because of the fact that we have one of the largest baseball organizations in the country, um, whenever there's not whenever, but often when there is a movie about baseball, they reach out to us and they say, "Hey, we're looking for extras for this movie. Can you help us out?" So, we've been in vodka commercials that had like a baseball theme that they asked us to be in. There was a baseball commercial for Mike's Gym where they wanted baseball players. I think it was Mike's Gym. Maybe it was another gym. Anyway, it was a gym, and we were in that commercial because they were looking for baseball players. When Fever Pitch came out with Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon, that movie was looking for a bunch of extras, and we had a lot of extras in that movie. So us being in baseball movies is nothing new. The 100th Inning was a documentary filmed about the 100 innings of baseball, and obviously we were very heavily featured in that movie. It was all about us. So there's been no shortage of us appearing in movies. We were on ESPN for a documentary series called The Trial of Pete Rose, where they were trying to determine whether or not Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame or not. And they did a trial, and three members of the jury were members of our baseball league. Um, so there's been no shortage of baseball film that we've been a part of. So in direct contrast to that, when the movie Ephus came out, which was filmed in Douglas, Mass, which is where our Douglas Tigers played baseball in our Metro West division. And somebody emailed me and said, "Hey, you familiar with this movie Ephus? It's filmed in Douglas, where the Douglas Tigers play." I was like, "No, are you kidding me? Like, why didn't they reach out to us? Like, why have I not heard of this? Like, that's wrong. Like, we have a team there that plays adult baseball. They're about adult baseball in Douglas. Like, how are we not part of this?" Um, have you seen this movie yet? I'm like, nah, I haven't seen it. I gotta watch it. And so I ultimately watched it. I had to wait for it to come out on streaming. And I was like, well, I guess I missed this one. And some number of months later, they said they were doing a tour where they were gonna do red carpet events in different cities across the country, and they were gonna do one in Boston and Douglas, Massachusetts, where the film was played. So I reached out to them, the producer, and I said, "Hey, would love to get involved with this game that you're doing to promote your movie Ephus." And they were like, "Oh, we'd love to do that." And I said, "Well, the manager of our Douglas Tigers team, he lives in Douglas. Like, he'd love to participate." And they're like, "Great, we'd love to have him." And I said, "Well, the commissioner of our Metro West League, who plays out in Douglas, he'd love to participate." That was Chris Curry, who we just mentioned. They're like, "Great, we'd love to have him." And then I'm like, "Well, our umpire, Dan Fields, he'd love to umpire the game. Do you have an umpire for the game?" They're like, "Oh, we don't. We'd love for him to umpire." So all of a sudden, we have an umpire in the game. We got two players in the game, and the crew of the movie Ephus played a game to promote their movie, and the umpire and Angie Santamoro was the base umpire. So Angie Santamoro is coaching in the field. Dan Fields coaching behind the plate. We have Chris Curry on one team. We have Brad Hall on the other team. And I'm like, man, the Boston Metro Baseball League is playing with the cast of the movie Ephus. Like, how awesome is that? Um, so we did that. That was a thing that happened. I'm like, this is wild. So we just continue to find opportunities to get involved in baseball experiences. But this is another example of what I was telling you before. Like, for us, it's baseball is not just 25 games a year. We look for experiences to get our players involved in baseball things that are happening year round. And no other league does that. Tell me another league that has gotten their players in baseball movies. Like, they haven't. In baseball commercials, they haven't. We do it over and over and over again because people know that if they need extras for their film or extras to participate in a baseball event, they reach out to us first because word's gotten around that we're the ones that like to participate in that type of activity.
Okay, and then for my final question, what does the future of your involvement with the BMBL look like, or just Boston baseball in general? And do you have a message for anybody, or a final message for anybody watching of why they should either become involved with the league or come watch games next year? Because I'm sure there's a lot of excitement coming down the road too. So I'll let you have the final word in the last like 6 minutes that we have on here.
All right, so my final word on this. We have several members of our board. We have a commissioner of our 18s plus division, 28s, 38s Metro West. We got a finance guy. We have a president. So there's and then there's Dan Field who runs our website. So that's seven guys who are really like the board of our league. Every single one of those seven guys is in their 40s or 50s. In fact, I think they're all in their 50s, with the exception of Dan Field, who I think is still stuck in his 40s somewhere, but everybody else is in their 50s. Well, we top out at a 38 plus division. So what's happening is our board's moving on. And what we need is young guys to pick up the slack. Like you had mentioned earlier, I'm the commissioner of the 18s plus division. I'm 53 years old. I want a guy who's 23 years old to take this on. I need people to raise their hands, and I need the younger baseballers of today to take over and run the divisions that they are the ones who are playing in. We need to find the next generation. Find the next person who can run the 18s, the 28s, the 38s, because the board that we have, they're all in their 50s and beyond. And the only reason we continue to do it is because nobody is grabbing the baton. And we ask occasionally, and sometimes people raise their hand and be like, "Oh, sure, I'd help." But they don't raise their hand so hard that they're grabbing for the ball. We need people who have such a passion for wanting to run it that they just grab it. I mean, the only reason I'm running the 18s and I'm leading marketing is because I love doing it and because I grab it and because I do it. I want somebody to come and steal my role. That's what I want. I want somebody to come and want this so hard that they just start doing it to a point where I'm like, you know what? You're doing this great. Keep it going. You got this. This is yours now. Um, the challenge is that as people get older, that young people just don't do that as much as they used to. Back when I was younger, you go down to a ball field on a Saturday and there's 20 people playing pickup ball. Today, you go down to a ball field on a random Saturday and there's no one there. If a bunch of adults don't tell the kids where to go, they don't go anywhere. Younger kids go to scheduled events. But those younger kids who went to scheduled events, they're now in the 18s plus division. They're now in the 28s plus division. So it's harder and harder to find people to take on those responsibilities. So I would say if there's anybody listening who wants to manage baseball, take on executive roles in baseball, don't just raise your hand. Start by raising your hand, but then take it. Nobody will stop you. I promise you, nobody will stop you. As far as the future of baseball, because I think that was your last question, like I said, there's never been more baseball to play. The leagues keep popping up. In the last couple of years, there's been a couple of new leagues that pop up. And you know what? They got 10, 15 teams too. So, we have a player pool every year, and there's hundreds of people in this player pool, and we pick like 20 or 30 of them. So there's like 170 guys that don't get picked who still want to play. Like, so new leagues start up, they start grabbing these guys. So this is what I meant before when I said there's like a league for the quality level of anybody who wants to play. There are so many people who want to play ball. And once these guys get involved, they're going to play till they're 75 years old. I play with Avi Nelson. Um, Avi Nelson is the name of the Rockies. There's a team called the Avi Nelson Rockies, which is named after none other than Avi Nelson. And he is on, I believe, the Knights, which is one of the teams that's managed by the guy who manages my Chiefs team. So he was at the end of the year party that I had last night. He's in his 80s playing baseball. And he doesn't strike out every time up. Like you say, he's 80, he must not be able to touch the ball. Nope. He puts the ball in play every time he gets up. 80 years old. So you said you're 32. Are you still going to be playing baseball in 50 years? 50
Wow.
more years. You're already 32. Like this is my message for whoever's listening is that you will play for as long as you want to play because there's unlimited baseball out there. You just need to make yourself available. And by play, you want to run a league? Great, go run one. No one's going to stop you. You want to take on administrative role, you want to do some great, go do it. Like there's unlimited opportunity for baseball in Boston. If you are listening to this, that means you probably live in Boston, and there's no greater opportunities to get involved in baseball than right here where you are. Just be proactive and go get it. I promise you, nobody will stop you. Nobody will get in your way. There is unlimited ball out here, and just play as long as you can. When your time is up, you will know it. Someday you won't be able to throw anymore. Your knees won't work anymore. When baseball wants you to be done, you'll be done. It has a plan for you. But until then, just go out there and go get it.